Hi guys, this is the first video of our Scratch programming. My name is Cynthia and we're going to be using this book called Coding with Scratch 3.0 Projects. So let's do the introduction. What is Scratch? Scratch is a creative tool you can use to build your own games, interactive stories, music, and art. Use Scratch to write computer code. This is a list of instructions that the computer will use to follow to bring your idea to life. So Scratch is a visual programming language. That means rather than having to type the code, use blocks of code to snap together to create your projects. This makes it easier to get started. I actually learned Scratch in middle school and it really helped me with my high school computer coding classes. So it's really important because it helps you understand the logic that goes behind computer coding. So Scratch uses sprites for characters, and code is put together to make a set of instructions called a programming. So you can use different blocks in a Scratch program to make a sprite fly around, laugh out loud, and react to other sprites. So coding blocks. Different types of blocks will have different colors. We'll learn what these do later. So what makes up a Scratch project? It's a little like a play. The action takes place in an area called the stage. The actors, the sprites, are controlled by lists of instructions, the code. Behind is a backdrop which can be changed. Libraries. Scratch comes with a lot of fun characters, backdrops, and interesting sound effects that we're going to use. So the Explore section of the Scratch website contains lots of projects made by other people. We can check it out later. So using Scratch. So let's go. I'm tiny now. Okay, so just search up Scratch, and this is the first thing that comes up. So we're gonna sign in, and using the username and password that I gave to you on a piece of paper, we could log in. There's my own account. So here we're going to use the Create tab to start a new project. And here's me. So here is Scratch. So let's see what all these buttons do. So here we could choose a language. Here we have 3 tabs: Code, the coding area, the costumes, our sprites, and sounds. Okay, and here are all of the types of code blocks. So there's motion, such as moving around, turning, going to an XY coordinate. Looks, such as speaking, thinking, changing costumes, sizes, and colors, and showing and hiding. Sound, such as playing a sound, changing the pitch and volume. Events, so when the go is clicked, something happens, the code underneath happens. When the space key is pressed, the code underneath happens. So when the loudness is greater than 10, something happens. And you could put a code underneath to say what. And control, so you wait 1 second, and these are loops, so repeat this 10 times, repeat this forever. If something happens, then the code right in here happens. Sensing, so when it senses something, when it's touching the mouse pointer, when the color is touching another color, something happens. So operators, this looks a lot like math, right? There's a little bit of math in computer coding, so it's cool. And variables. So just like we have variables in math, there's like a number is assigned to a variable, right? So the number can change. So that's like helpful. Say for scores, scores have like a number, but the number changes, right? So it'll be really helpful to make computer games later. And my blocks, you can make a block. So these are all color coordinated. Now let's see what we have here. We have the name, we have their size, We have their X and Y coordinate, their direction they are facing, and the backdrops. So here, to add sprites, we could choose one, we could paint one, we could surprise us with one, we could upload one. And here, we could choose a backdrop, we could paint a backdrop, we could surprise with a backdrop. Wow, okay. So let's do our first program now. Unicorn Rush. Okay? So, have you ever dreamed of making a computer game? Now's your chance with the Scratch project. Follow the simple steps to make a space unicorn game, which is a race against the clock to collect rainbows. So what we're going to do. The unicorn is controlled by pressing the arrow keys. Every time the unicorn collects a rainbow, 10 points are added to the player's score. After 10 seconds, the game ends. Try to beat your score the next time you play. So we need to have a lot of things to code for, right? We need to somehow code for whenever we press the arrow key, such as the right one, it has to move right. And we also need to code for whenever it touches the rainbow, 10 points have to be added to the player's score. Remember, the score is like a variable. And after 10 seconds, the game ends. So we have to stop the game after 10 seconds. So let's see. Getting started. Let's start a brand new project. So remember the Create tab I pressed? Or you can also press File and create a new one. Okay. So bye for now. Scratch can't. So let's delete it. Clicking this button. Now let's add a new sprite. So let's choose one. The unicorn. Let's do this one. And we also have to resize it. So to size 50. It's tiny unicorn now. So let's also rename it to just the OG unicorn. So coding the sprite. So making it move. So now we have to code for the arrow keys. Whenever we press it, we want it to move, right? So let's look at events. So when the program starts, when the go button is pressed, we want this to happen forever. Because we don't want to just press the arrow key once, it moves, and then we press it again, it won't move because the code already finished running. So we want this to happen forever. So anytime you press the key, it happens. So let's see, where is the control button? Okay, so if the key is pressed, so the key, the let's do right arrow, motion, it has to turn to the right. Let's point in the direction 90 degrees because that's right. It's 90. It's pointing to the right. And let's move. So move 10 steps. Okay, we completed number 7. So let's test it out. So we press the right key. Wow, it's moving right. Pretty cool. So let's press the stop. Okay. Now we have to do it for all of the arrow keys, right? So let's do the if button. Remember to keep it inside the forever loop. The left arrow. We wanted to point to the left, right? So, oops. Let's see, pointing to the left. This is to the right, to the left. So negative 90. And then we move. Point in the direction and we move. Move me up here. Now we move. So this one, let's see, the up arrow. We want to move up. So 0 degrees. And then the last one, down button. sensing when this down button is pressed. We want motion. So let's point in the direction and move. And this time we want to point down. So 180 degrees. Okay, we have all of the arrow keys. So let's test it again. Press the go button. Now, wow, moves up. Whoa, the unicorn's upside down. I think that's supposed to happen, right? Unicorns run upside down? Okay. So spotting a bug. Yep, indeed. Our unicorn is flipping upside down. So let's fix it. So we have to do the set rotation style. That's a motion. So let's go down. Set rotation style. Left to right. And now let's press the go button again. Let's try it out. Oh, unicorn's running normal now. Okay. Now setting the scene. Let's choose a backdrop. Let's make it the nebula one. Nebula. Okay. Now we also need collectibles. Many games have special objects that are collected by a hero called collectibles. These might be jewels or coins. In this game, we're going to have unicorns as collectibles, and they're actually sprites. So we have to add a sprite. So let's choose a sprite. Let's get the rainbow. Now let's make it 50, size 50, a smaller rainbow. Because a unicorn, okay. Now let's place a rainbow. So now we're coding for the rainbow. If you noticed, the thing we're coding for appears on the corner. The unicorn's really light, you could barely see it. So, okay. Now, when the go button is pressed, we want it to appear, right? So that would be a looks. Show. And now, let's go to a random position, right? Because we want the rainbow to appear in random places. And now let's get the rainbow to when it'll notice when the unicorn is touching it. So if, and this also has to happen forever, right? Because we don't want it to just touch once and then touch once, disappear, and never touch it again. So we want to keep on going. So touching, unicorn, then go to a random position. Okay, now let's run the program now. Wow, rainbows appearing in random positions. Pretty cool. So and now let's press the arrow keys too. Wow. Well, you could touch the unicorn, touch the rainbow, and it disappears. Okay. Now keeping score. So remember, we gotta create a variable. So let's make a variable. Let's call it score. So let's add a score, set score to 0 when the game starts. And we also show the variable because we want people to see it. Scoring. And now every time it touches the unicorn, let's change the score. Let's add some points. So let's change score by 10. Now let's try if it works. Start button. Oh no, We gotta change it to, I gotta change it to score. Okay. Try it again. Wow. Score is increasing now, right? I have 20 points, 30 points. Okay. Now, lastly, we need a timer, right? Remember 10 seconds? So let's change timer to 10. So when the timer is 10, we want the game to stop. So let's get the rainbow to disappear so people stop. So the unicorn stops collecting rainbows. And let's stop all. So control, stop all. Okay, now we're done. Let's test it out. Okay, gotta go fast. Oh no, okay, 70, okay. That's cool. Now the unicorn can't even move anymore, right? That's because we did stop all. Okay, so see if you could beat my score. I don't know. And there's a show what you know page, so maybe do that later. Okay, so first project. Good luck.